It was a whirlwind day at the Bexar County Justice Center. Updates today in 3 different high-profile cases.
Our Erica Hernandez covering it all joins us now here in the studio. So let's start with that first case, the case of Tamor McIntyre. He's the rapper on trial for capital murder, robbing and killing a photographer. What was the update there today?
Yeah, Myra, so we expected the defense to present a case today, but instead they said a witness they had lined up was a no-show, and they decided they weren't going to testify. So this is that moment when the defense this morning told the judge their situation. Judge Stephanie Boyd gave them until this afternoon to figure it all out, and when they came back, they just rested their case instead. So that means tomorrow morning closing arguments will take place at around 9 a.m. Then the jury will deliberate. McIntyre, also known as Texas rapper Tay-K, is accused in the murder and robbery of photographer Mike Saldivar back in 2017. If convicted, he would be sentenced to life in prison.
He had the streets chanting his name, a viral hit, a runaway fugitive, in the face that defined reckless youth in the SoundCloud rap era. But what happens when a young star decides the rules don't apply to him? What happens when fame becomes fuel for the fire he's already burning from the inside? This isn't just a story about music. It's about crime, consequence, and a chilling question that still lingers. Was he ever meant to survive the spotlight? Or was he always running the race? Let's talk about Tay-K. Before the headlines, before the manhunt, there was just a boy named Tamor Trayvon McIntyre. Raised in the heart of the struggle, he wasn't just surrounded by chaos, he absorbed it. A product of pain, a reflection of survival. He ran with wolves and became one. But Tay wasn't like the others. His ambition didn't end with the block. He wanted more clout, more money, more blood in his name if that's what it took. Then came a moment that would define the rest of his life, and end another.
New at 6, video of teen rapper Tay-K as police question him about his role in a deadly home invasion in Mansfield. The video was shown to the jury this afternoon in Tamor McIntyre's capital murder trial. Jason Allen is live inside the Tim Curry Criminal Justice Center in Fort Worth with the details. Jason?
And Gilma, the doors of the court are just cracking open here behind me. It looks like they have just finished up for the evening. The jury today, not only in that video, heard Tamor McIntyre admit to being part of this crime when it happened. They also heard from a man who was shot that night and survived.
This video from almost 3 years ago shows a 16-year-old Tamor McIntyre in a small room with police, uncomfortable, wiping his eyes at times, and finally admitting to investigators he played a role in a home invasion and murder in Mansfield. It was far removed from the images that have made Tay-K famous when he rapped about running from the charges in a song that climbed the charts just the next year.
I seen 4 people come in with guns and masks and hoodies, and then they came straight into my room.
A survivor of the shooting, Zach Belote, testified today he realized he'd been set up for the crime by a girl he thought he was dating. That's a point McIntyre's defense team has been keen on, that 5 other individuals, along with a juvenile, were actually responsible for planning the robbery and shooting the 2 victims. One of the girls has testified she brought in McIntyre to recruit the gunman. Belote stared down McIntyre as he left the courtroom today, but not before telling about the tense moment that night where he knew he was about to be shot.
Well, everybody left the room, and then one guy was at the front of my room in the doorway, and I was right in front of the bed, like pretty much point-blank range. And he sat there and hesitated for about 2 minutes with one hand, and when he grabbed it with 2 hands, that's when I knew he was going to pull the trigger.
It was months after that interrogation seen on video that McIntyre cut off his GPS monitoring bracelet and went on the run. A U.S. Marshal Task Force member testified today that when they found him later in New Jersey and caught up to him and arrested him, he made up stories about swallowing a bunch of pills and even about hearing voices in order to try to stay out of jail. Live tonight in Fort Worth, Jason Allen, CBS 11 News.
When we talk about what's reasonable and not reasonable in this case, ask yourself at that moment in time, as Tay-K is running inside that house with 2 guys armed with guns and one of them armed with a set of brass knuckles, what his expectations were from that. He's already pled guilty to you today, saying, hey, I'm guilty that I knew that somebody was going to get threatened, but I'm not going going to be guilty of a crime I didn't anticipate. That will be the testimony. But that's not reasonable. Put yourself in that situation right then and consider the evidence about what he knew in this case and when he knew it. Ladies and gentlemen, Ethan Walker was sitting on a stool in a bedroom with his girlfriend Alyssa Rao playing video games when he was killed. He wasn't hurting anybody. Let me just ask you this question. When you saw that person coming around the corner with a mask on his face, how did you feel?
I was scared, very scared.
Did you have any idea at that moment about what was going on?
I was in shock and I was confused.
Was that person holding anything?
A gun.
Tay agreed to participate in a robbery. Tay participated in a robbery. But he stood up here yesterday in front of you and in front of this court and accepted responsibility for what he agreed to do and what he participated in, and pled guilty to the robbery by threats using a gun, threatened somebody with a gun in counts 3 and counts 4. The girls planned this. They set it up, and the boys were supposed to come in and hold everybody off, and Tay-K had a bag. He was going to get the money and the drugs from under the couch and run back out. Well, that's not what happened. Everything went tragically wrong in there.
It was a backdoor play that started it all. A girl, a tip-off, and a plan to hit a stash house. But plans don't always go the way they're supposed to. Shots rang out. A young man named Ethan Walker didn't make it out alive. His roommate did. And with him, the truth came crawling out of the dark. Tay-K and 6 others were arrested. But somehow, Tay was given a sliver of freedom. House arrest, a second chance. But Tay wasn't the type to sit still.
How could he not have anticipated? Because he knew the things that y'all know now after 2 days of testimony. He knew those things on the night of July 26, 2016. Ethan Walker sat on the floor with his back against a bed with his hands up in the air in a vulnerable, defenseless position. Letharian Merritt shot him through the heart. Didn't shoot him in the hand, didn't shoot him in the foot, didn't fire off a warning shot to scare him. He shot him center mass. Killed him. That is intentional. And of course the defendant should have anticipated all this. He should have anticipated, because you know how he knew what was going to go down that night and what the risks were for his conspiracy? Because he wanted his own gun. As he asked Mariah Quadri, can I borrow a gun from you? Or can you point me to somebody where I can borrow a gun? What else do we know about what he should have anticipated that night? Because, ladies and gentlemen, the red flags were right in front of his face. It's like a Christmas tree blinking on and off that night.
I want to start with, what was Taymor's role in this? Okay? And his role in this is certainly described by several people, but what was his role? Number one, Taymor never touched, handled, loaded, cleaned, carried a firearm either before this incident that day, during the incident that day, or after the incident that day. There is not a scintilla of evidence that he did that. Taymor didn't anticipate this was going to happen. None of these girls anticipated this was going to happen. And nobody should anticipate that somebody was going to go in there and intentionally shoot somebody. It wasn't part of the plan. You know that because, let me tell you what. If it was part of the plan that somebody was going to kill somebody in there, the girls and Taymor wouldn't have freaked out and run out the front door when the first shot went off if it was part of the plan.
Breaking news right now, a jury has reached a verdict in the capital murder trial for teen rapper Taymor McIntyre. He was found guilty of a lesser crime than murder. The penalty phase is underway right now. 21-year-old Ethan Walker was killed in robbery in Mansfield back in 2016. McIntyre did not pull the trigger, but prosecutors say he knew a plan to steal drugs and money would end with someone being shot.
It was bold. It was reckless. It was viral. Tay cut off his ankle monitor and hit the streets running, not hiding, recording. He dropped a track that will become his anthem, The Race. He rapped about his escape while on the run. U.S. Marshals didn't have to chase clues. Tay gave them a roadmap and 808s and bars. The same day the music video dropped, they caught him, still bumping his track, still smiling. But what came next wasn't a mixtape, it was a cage. Tay-K entered the system with defiance in his eyes and chaos in his blood. He tried to finesse the psych ward. He sent out letters for XXL freshmen. He thought maybe the world would wait for him. But the world moved on, and Tay moved deeper into the darkness. More allegations, another body, an elderly man, beaten and left for dead. And still, Tay smiled for the cameras, as if nothing could touch him.
A teen rapper's hit song was used as evidence against him in a murder trial in Fort Worth. Tay-K's song, The Race, climbed the charts 2 years ago, but now prosecutors are hoping it helps send him away for a long time. Jason Allen is live in Fort Worth. And Jason, this was the song that built a fan base for this teenager.
Yeah, it is, Gilman. I'll give you an update. The courtroom doors you can see moving back there behind me. The defense just rested. They are now done with this case. They will come back tomorrow morning for final arguments, and jury will get to recommend a sentence in this case. So that song, part of the song's popularity was that it seems to be about the very murder that Tamor McIntyre has now been found guilty of, and the jurors were hearing it for the first time as they decide how long he would potentially stay in prison. The guns and gang signs in his own wanted poster may have made for an attention-grabbing video, but Monday, Tamor McIntyre may have wanted to run from The Race, his hit song where he raps about not beating a case and taking off. The video and social media images from its promotion were shown to the same jury that found McIntyre guilty of murder last week. He was one of 7 teens involved in a Mansfield home invasion where a young father, Ethan Walker, was killed. Because this is now sentencing for that crime, prosecutors are also bringing up other crimes where McIntyre is accused.
He was holding a 38 pistol and had it pointed like this, steady as could be, toward my head.
Skip Pepe said it was McIntyre who robbed him at gunpoint while he was on the run in 2017. But the defense team spent hours poking holes in the story, pushing Pepe to the brink on the witness stand.
I did everything that day but take a selfie with this kid that beat me nearly to death, okay?
We're gonna get
so
there.
Let's stop playing the games.
The only witness for the defense, in fact, had pictures of Tay-K at a party at a house in Austin that were taken the same day that prosecutors and police have said that he was supposedly in Arlington assaulting Mr. Pepe. Now, that does not change the murder charge in this case, but it could change the way the jury sees him as they try to recommend a sentence.
Inside, things got worse. Tay wasn't just surviving. He was thriving in chaos. He taunted staff. He threw hands. He threw wet toilet paper. He recorded verses. He made threats. He started a gang behind bars. The Rugrats, with rules, with structure, with violence. He refused to hand over phones, threatened guards, started wars inside the walls. Tay wasn't changing. He was evolving into something even darker.
Hey. My niggas, fuck the ops, man. Fuck the other side, man. You already know what's going on. Fuck the other side, man.
Hey, that nigga Tay-K, boy. Look at that nigga. Go fast.
See what happened.
What's up, bro? I see what you doing. Yeah, I'm straight. She gonna get
everybody, tell everybody here. He coming too. He coming.
It's just a regular little watch. Huh? We about the same height. We about the same height.
He said he been working out too.
You been working? You getting big though, bro. I see you getting big.
Tell him you love him.
Yeah, I love you though, bro. Yeah.
No.
Man, y'all know my shorty good. My shorty gonna be good. He in the streets or he out.
That nigga.
That nigga just dated that big.
Yeah.
My shorty.
Don't forget that, boy. Oh God, bro. Love you, shit. I don't mean nothing forever, bro. Real good shit, bro. Oh, geez.
Man, I mean, I know you talk to people while you're in jail, but do you realize, like, when you're in jail, like, what's the experience in jail? Like, are people noticing you inside the jail?
I mean, yeah, like, just because the newspapers, you know, they bring the newspapers to jail. When I walk on the hallway, all the old heads, because I'm on 24-hour lockdown. So when I walk in the hallway, all the old heads, they scream, "Is that Tay-K 47?" You know, just like that. You know, they f with me. Everybody f with me, though. When I was in because they just moved me to adult jail. When I was in juvenile about 3 days ago, I went to juvenile for like a day before I got moved. All the kids in juvenile knew who I was. All the little East Side Arlington kids, all the little Fort Worth kids, all the little hood niggas, everybody know who I was. I'm gonna say it.
Right, but I mean, like now, bro, everybody fucking knows you. I'm in New York right now, and I heard like 2 people in Brooklyn jam in the race. Like, do you know, bro? No, it's real. Lil Bibby shouted you out last night. Do you know that?
Oh shit, that's a lie on that stage.
Yeah, Lil Bibby tweeted you, man. It's on every blog site right now. He tweeted about you, Tay-K. Everybody's remixing your record. But like, do you like is it fucking with you knowing that you can't see that shit right now?
I mean, not really. I'm in this whole chilling. I be mad and stuff, but like, I learned to just like finesse through a lot of my situations. So I'm just in this whole chilling. You know, I know I'm going up on the outside. I know when I do get out, I'm still gonna be going up. I'm gonna have some money waiting for me whenever I do get out. If they give me a bond, I'm gonna get out. You know, I don't be letting nothing get to me.
In July 2019, the fantasy came crashing down. 55 years, aggravated robbery, murder. The viral success of the race was no longer a badge of honor. It was evidence. Tay-K, the teenage fugitive turned viral sensation, was now a cautionary tale, stamped with a DOC number. But even as the bars closed around him, he never stopped fighting or believing. He dropped Santana World. He studied for his GED. He told the world he'd be free soon, but the world didn't believe him anymore. More charges followed. A co-defendant flipped. More time hung over his head. He tweeted. He apologized. He lashed out at his team. He said he wasn't a monster. He said he had been silenced. The smile was gone. The flame dimmed. And for the first time, it looked like Tay-K understood the weight of his choices. In 2025, a woman accused of being the driver in the 2017 Capitol murder took the stand Monday in the trial of Tamar McIntyre, also known as rapper Tay-K 47, offering graphic and emotional testimony that identified McIntyre as the gunman who killed photographer Mark Saladar.
New on the night beat, one man found dead in the middle of a parking lot of a North Side fast food restaurant following a shooting. As Pilar Arias reports tonight, police say the car the victim was riding in may also be the same vehicle the suspects took off in.
The parking lot of a Chick-fil-A turned crime scene. The restaurant closed for business like it usually is on Sundays. But that didn't stop witnesses and spectators from gathering to figure out what happened at the lot just across from North Star Mall early this evening.
Well, this is a shopping center. There were quite a few people out here, and the car drove through like everybody else, and as soon as they heard the noise, they all started looking.
Police now trying to find out how this all happened. Their sights set on a black four-door car. They say the victim was riding in the car along with several other people police are now looking for. They had pulled in here just before 5:30. As far as investigators know at this point, the man was shot outside the vehicle, but they don't know what made him want to get out. We're told the victim was in his early 20s. It's unclear what the relation was between him and the people he was riding with in that car. Several witnesses were taken to public safety headquarters for questioning.
Joanna Reyes, testifying as a key witness for the prosecution, told jurors she was with McIntyre on April 23, 2017, when what was meant to be a photo shoot turned violent. Reyes said McIntyre, who had referred to her as his girlfriend at the time, had asked her to help find a photographer. She reached out to Saldivar, whom she knew through Instagram. Reyes said she picked up Saldivar along with McIntyre, Jalen Bell, and Jeremiah Rodriguez. Saldivar later asked to reschedule the shoot and requested a ride to North Star Mall, which Reyes agreed to. But at a stoplight on McCullough Avenue, Reyes testified that McIntyre pulled a gun on Saldivar and demanded his backpack. When Saldivar refused, Reyes said the group began hitting him. Saldivar was pushed out of the car and climbed onto the hood, Reyes said. McIntyre allegedly pointed the gun at Reyes and demanded she get him off the car. When she didn't, she testified, McIntyre opened the door and shot Saldivar outside of Chick-fil-A.
And so after you picked up Mark Saldivar, where did you guys go?
He asked us if we could reschedule for the day and if we can give him a ride to North Star. So I agreed and I said, okay, that's fine.
Okay. And so you were still going to give him a ride to North Star Mall?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so on the way to North Star Mall, what happened?
We hit the light at McCullough and Tamor took out his gun and pointed it at Mark and asked for his bag. Mark refused to give him the bag, so they all started hitting him, and Tamor was hitting him with the gun, and the whole time I didn't look back, but when I did, I saw his face, and I started telling them to let him go, and I just kept screaming, let him go. And Jalen opened the door and started pushing him out. And he was fighting to get back in the car. And then I didn't let him in the car. So he went around the car and he jumped on the hood. And then the light turned green.
Okay. I'm gonna stop you right there, okay?
Okay.
So when you all were at the light on McCullough, you said Tamor produced his gun, correct?
Yes.
And who did Tamor have the gun pointed at?
Mark.
And what was Tamor saying when he had the gun pointed at Mark?
To give him his bag.
And so once the light turned green, what happened?
He pointed the gun at me and told me to start driving. So I started driving. I didn't know where to go, so I turned into the first place that I saw, which was the Chick-fil-A. Once I turned into the Chick-fil-A, he kept yelling at me to get him off the car. I didn't know how to, so I was just going back and forth really quickly. And then Mark kicked the windshield. And Tay-K opened the door and shot him.
From street dreams to prison screams, Tay-K's story isn't over, but the world he once ran from now surrounds him on all sides. He believed he was untouchable. He believed he could outrun the law, and for a moment, maybe he did. But time always catches up, and for Tay-K, time may be the only thing he has left. Alright y'all, there y'all have it, man. That's the crazy story of Tay-K. Hey man, y'all think they gonna fry that boy? They trying to hit him with that capital murder, man. So, you know, that brings a death penalty. But hey, get in that comment section, man. Let me know what y'all think. Drillers and trappers, we out here trapping and drilling 247. Don't go nowhere. Watch that next video.